There was a season in my life when I woke up every day feeling like I was chasing something I could never quite catch. Success, love, fulfillment, it all seemed out of reach. I would look at myself in the mirror and see someone who wanted more, but deep down didn't actually believe he deserved it. Maybe you've been there too. You wake up, go through the motions, scroll through social media, and see everyone else's highlight reels. They look confident, they look fulfilled, and you're asking yourself, why not me? Why do I still feel stuck? Here's the truth. The future you want isn't waiting for luck, a miracle, or someone else to hand it to you. It's waiting for you, and the gap between where you are right now and the life you want is smaller than you think. But here's the catch: you can't just wish for it. You have to become the person who is already living it. And that transformation doesn't take years. It doesn't take decades. It can begin in just 7 days. If you commit to changing your mindset, your habits, and the way you see yourself. So, for the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through 6 powerful principles. These aren't just ideas, they're actions you can live out over the next 7 days. If you do them consistently, you won't just start manifesting the future you want. You'll begin to believe, at the deepest level, that you deserve it. Every one of us is walking around with wounds that no one else can see. Some of them come from childhood, a parent who wasn't there when you needed them, a teacher who told you you weren't smart enough, a moment when you tried your hardest and still failed. Others come later in life, a heartbreak that shattered your trust, a career setback that made you question your worth, a friendship that ended and left you wondering if you'll ever belong anywhere. We carry these wounds into adulthood without realizing it. They don't just live in our memories, they live in our behaviors, in our choices, in our beliefs about who we are and what we deserve. And here's the truth. If you don't heal the wound, you repeat the pattern. I know this because I lived it. For years, I carried the wound of believing I was invisible. Growing up, I often felt unseen, unheard, and unworthy. No matter what I achieved in sports or in life, it felt like it was never enough. So I pushed harder, achieved more, but deep down, the wound kept whispering, "You're not good enough. You'll never be enough." And that wound shaped everything. It made me chase validation instead of purpose. It made me avoid deep relationships because I was afraid that if people really saw me, they'd confirm my worst fear, that I wasn't worthy of love. Maybe you've felt that too. Maybe you've been chasing achievements, relationships, or even distractions, not because they truly fulfill you, but because you're trying to silence a wound that's still open. Here's what I want you to understand. Your wound is not your identity. It is part of your story, but it does not define your future. The key to manifesting the life you want is not pretending the wound isn't there. It's facing it, feeling it, and reframing it. So here's a practice I want you to commit to for the next 7 days. Every morning, set aside 5 quiet minutes with a journal. Write down one painful memory that still carries weight in your life. Describe what happened, how it made you feel, and most importantly, what story you began telling yourself because of it. Then ask this question: what empowering truth can I take from this experience? If your wound was rejection, maybe the story you told yourself was "I'm not lovable." But the truth could be, I am strong enough to survive rejection, and that means I am resilient. If your wound was failure, maybe the story was I'll never succeed. But the truth could be, failure is feedback. It taught me what doesn't work, and it prepared me for greater success. When you shift the meaning of your wound, you shift the direction of your life. Healing doesn't erase the past, it transforms it into wisdom. And once you do this, the wound no longer controls you. You no longer act out of fear, insecurity, or shame. You begin to act out of strength, clarity, and self-worth. So, let me ask you, what wound have you been carrying, and are you ready, just for these 7 days, to take its power back? Because when you heal the wound that keeps you stuck, you unlock the future that's been waiting for you all along. One of the greatest tragedies in life is not that people fail. It's that people never even try because they don't believe they can succeed. They look at others who are thriving and think, "That's for them, not for me. I don't have what it takes." But here's the truth: no one is born with unshakable confidence. Self-belief is not a gift. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be built, strengthened, and mastered. When I was younger, I thought that once I achieved a certain level of success, once I made enough money or received enough recognition, then I would finally feel confident. But the truth is, the achievements came, and I still felt insecure. Why? Because I was chasing validation instead of building belief. I wanted the world to tell me I was worthy, instead of learning to tell myself. Maybe you've been doing the same thing. Maybe you've been waiting for someone else to see your value before you see it yourself. Maybe you've been putting off your dreams because you don't feel ready, or you don't feel qualified, or you're afraid people will laugh at you if you fail. But self-belief doesn't come from waiting, it comes from action. It comes from proving to yourself, one small step at a time, that you are capable, resilient, and worthy of the life you desire. Here's a simple but powerful exercise I want you to try for the next 7 days. Every morning, before you touch your phone, stand in front of a mirror. Look yourself in the eyes, not a quick glance, not avoiding your reflection. Really look at yourself and say out loud, "I am becoming the person I've always wanted to be." Say it even if you don't believe it at first. Say it when it feels awkward. Say it when your mind starts doubting. Over time, something powerful happens. You start to rewire your brain. You start to replace doubt with possibility, but that's not enough. You need action to back it up. So here's the second step. Every day, do one thing that your future self, the confident, successful, purposeful version of you, would do. Just one. Maybe it's making that phone call you've been putting off. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting instead of staying silent. Maybe it's investing 30 minutes into learning a skill instead of scrolling social media. Each small win builds momentum. Each small act of courage deposits belief into your confidence bank. And the more you deposit, the more unstoppable you become. Remember this: people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they never gave themselves permission to try. So, give yourself that permission. For the next 7 days, train your mind with affirmations. Prove yourself with small daily actions, and watch as your self-belief expands. Because when you finally believe in yourself, the world begins to believe in you too. Manifestation is not just about vision boards, positive thoughts, or hoping the universe delivers your dream life. Real manifestation is alignment. It's bringing your daily habits into harmony with the future you say you want. Think about this. If you want to be a world-class athlete, you can't live on junk food and late nights. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you can't spend every evening watching Netflix. If you want a loving, connected relationship, you can't keep avoiding vulnerability. The life you want requires a version of you that lives differently than the version you are today, and that's where most people get stuck. They dream about the future but never shift their present. When I was chasing success, I had a vision of being influential, healthy, and fulfilled, but my habits told a different story. I stayed up too late. I numbed stress with unhealthy food. I distracted myself instead of facing my fears. I wanted greatness, but my daily actions weren't aligned with greatness, and until I changed my habits, nothing changed in my life. Here's what I want you to do this week. Close your eyes for a moment and picture the future version of yourself, the one who has the career, the health, the relationships, the peace you desire. Get specific. How does that person start their day? How do they talk to themselves? How do they spend their evenings? How do they handle challenges? Now here's the challenge. For the next 7 days, choose just one of those habits and begin living it right now. Don't overwhelm yourself by trying to change everything at once. Transformation isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. Maybe your future self wakes up earlier, so you start setting your alarm 30 minutes earlier. Maybe your future self reads and learns daily, so you commit to 10 minutes of personal growth instead of scrolling your phone. Maybe your future self treats their body with respect, so you drink water before coffee each morning. It might feel small, but here's the power every time you practice that habit. You are casting a vote for the identity of your future self. You are saying, "This is who I am becoming." And over time, those votes add up. Those small changes compound. You don't just think like your future self, you start living like them. Remember, alignment is the bridge between desire and destiny. Without aligned habits, your dreams remain wishes. With aligned habits, your dreams become inevitable. So let me ask you, what is one habit your future self has mastered that you are willing to start this week? Because when your habits align with your vision, you stop chasing the future, and the future starts chasing you. Most people think the key to success is talent, strategy, or intellect, and yes, those things matter. But the real game changer, the thing that separates people who thrive in every area of life from those who stay stuck, is emotional intelligence. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone with incredible potential sabotage themselves because they couldn't manage their emotions? They lose their temper in a relationship and destroy trust. They let fear stop them from pursuing an opportunity. They get discouraged after one failure and quit too soon. It's not a lack of skill that holds people back. It's a lack of emotional mastery. For years, I struggled with this. I had all the drive in the world, but whenever life didn't go my way, I spiraled. If I was rejected, I felt worthless. If I failed, I believed I was a failure. If someone criticized me, I let it define me. I was living at the mercy of my emotions, and until I learned to master them, I couldn't move forward with clarity or confidence. Maybe you've felt that too. Maybe your emotions have been running the show. Fear keeping you silent, anger pushing people away, sadness convincing you to give up. But here's the truth. Emotions are not meant to control you. They are meant to teach you. So here's the practice for the next 7 days. Anytime you feel a strong emotion, whether it's anger, fear, sadness, or even joy, pause for 60 seconds before you react. Just breathe, sit with the feeling, and ask yourself one powerful question. What is this emotion trying to teach me? Anger might be showing you a boundary that has been crossed. Fear might be pointing you toward a growth opportunity that requires courage. Sadness might be signaling that something in your life needs to be healed or released. Even joy teaches you. It shows you what aligns with your values and what gives your life meaning. When you stop reacting and start reflecting, you take back control. You shift from being a victim of your emotions to becoming a student of them. And when you learn from them, you gain wisdom, strength, and freedom. Emotional intelligence is not about suppressing how you feel. It's about feeling everything fully, but choosing your response consciously. It's about being grounded when others lose their center. It's about staying calm in the storm and focused on what truly matters. Imagine what your life would look like if you mastered this. Relationships would deepen because you'd communicate with compassion instead of defensiveness. Opportunities would open up because fear wouldn't stop you. Failure wouldn't define you. It would refine you. This is the secret most people never unlock. But you can. For the next 7 days, practice pausing, reflecting, and learning from your emotions. And watch how quickly you begin to feel more confident, more centered, and more powerful. Because the person who controls their emotions controls their destiny. Fear is one of the most powerful forces in our lives. It convinces us to stay small, to stay safe, to avoid risk. And on the surface, fear feels like it's protecting us. But in reality, fear is stealing our future. The truth is, fear never fully goes away. No matter how successful, confident, or experienced you become, fear still whispers. It whispers when you're about to take a leap in your career. It whispers when you consider opening your heart in love. It whispers when you dare to dream of something bigger than the life you're living right now. Most people let fear dictate their choices. But the people who create greatness, they don't wait for fear to disappear. They build a vision so compelling, so powerful, that fear becomes irrelevant. I remember when I started my first big project after college, I was terrified. What if I failed? What if people laughed at me? What if I wasn't good enough? But then I asked myself, what if I succeed? What if this vision becomes real? And suddenly, the fear didn't vanish. But the vision became louder than the fear. And that's what pulled me forward. So here's your challenge for the next 7 days. I want you to create a vision so clear and powerful that it excites you more than fear scares you. Set aside one evening this week, turn off distractions, sit with a blank piece of paper, and write in detail what your future looks like. Your career, your relationships, your health, your impact. Don't just write what you want, write why you want it. Describe it as if you are already living it. Ask yourself, what does my morning look like in that future? Who am I surrounded by? How do I feel in my body? What kind of work do I do every day? What kind of difference do I make in the world? The clearer your vision, the stronger its pull. And here's the key. Don't keep that vision locked in your head. Read it every morning for the next 7 days. Let it guide your choices. Let it shape your habits. When fear whispers, return to your vision. Fear will say, you can't. Your vision will remind you, yes, you can, and here's why. When you live with a vision bigger than fear, you stop playing not to lose, and you start playing to win. You stop asking, what if I fail? And start asking, what if this changes everything? Your vision becomes the anchor that grounds you and the fuel that drives you. And once you taste that, fear no longer gets the final say. So ask yourself today, is my vision louder than my fear? And if not, am I willing to create one that is? Because when your vision becomes bigger than fear, nothing can stop you from becoming the person you were meant to be. You can have the deepest healing, you can build radical self-belief, you can align your habits, master your emotions, and craft the most inspiring vision in the world. But none of it matters if you don't take action. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And yet, this is where most people get stuck. They wait, they hesitate, they tell themselves they're not ready, that they need more clarity, that the timing isn't right. But here's the truth, clarity doesn't come before action. Clarity comes through action. When I first started building my career, I was paralyzed by fear of getting it wrong. I wanted the perfect plan, the perfect timing, the perfect confidence, but I realized something waiting for perfection was just another form of procrastination. So I made myself a promise every single day I would take one bold action toward my goals, no matter how small. Some days it was sending one scary email. Other days it was standing on a stage when my knees were shaking. Each step wasn't perfect, but each step moved me forward. Maybe you've been holding back. Maybe you've been dreaming instead of doing, planning instead of executing, waiting instead of creating. But if you want to manifest the future you want, you cannot afford to wait any longer. So here's your challenge. For the next 7 days, commit to one bold action every single day. Not 10, not 20, just one. It might be making a phone call you've been avoiding. It might be applying for a job you don't feel ready for. It might be sharing your story online. It might be having that hard conversation with someone you love. Here's what happens when you take bold action. You build momentum, and momentum is powerful. One action leads to another, and suddenly you're no longer thinking about the life you want. You're living it. Bold action also builds courage. You don't become courageous by waiting until you're fearless. You become courageous by taking steps even while fear is still present. Each time you act, you teach your brain, I can handle this. And the more you prove it to yourself, the more unstoppable you become. I want you to imagine something right now. Imagine where you could be 1 year from today if you committed to just one bold action every single day. That's 365 bold actions. Think about the opportunities, the growth, the breakthroughs that would come from that. Now scale it back. You don't have to take 365 actions today. You just have to take one, then another tomorrow, then another the next day. That's how transformation happens, not in one giant leap, but in consistent steps of courage. So ask yourself today, what is the bold action I can take before I go to bed tonight, not tomorrow? Not someday, today, because the future you want doesn't wait, and neither should you. Over the last few minutes, we've walked through 6 powerful principles. And if you truly commit to them for just 7 days, heal one wound, build radical self-belief, align your habits, master your emotions, create a vision bigger than fear, and take bold action daily, your life will begin to shift in ways you cannot imagine. I know it might sound simple, but greatness is built on simple steps repeated with consistency. Most people never change their lives because they wait for some massive breakthrough. But breakthroughs don't come from waiting. They come from doing. So here's what I want you to remember. The future you want is already inside of you. It's not something out there waiting for the right time, the right person, or the right opportunity. It's within you right now, waiting for you to decide that you are ready to step into it. You've carried wounds that once held you back, but now you have the power to heal. You've doubted yourself, but now you know how to build belief. You've dreamed of a different future, but now you have the tools to live it. Greatness doesn't start tomorrow, it starts today. It starts with one choice, one habit, one action that says, I am no longer waiting for permission to live the life I was created for. So if this message resonated with you, I want to invite you to keep this journey going. Like this video so it reaches more people who need it. Leave a comment sharing what bold action you're committing to this week. I want to hear from you. And make sure you subscribe, because my mission is to continue giving you the tools, the stories, and the strategies to help you unlock the greatness already inside of you. And I'll leave you with this. You are not defined by your past, your failures, or your fears. You are defined by the courage you choose today. So step forward, take action, and remember, your greatness begins right now.